Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I had to move because, well, it looks like there's already someone else taking the stairs, but yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, good morning. Today is what, Sunday. Yesterday we literally did like 7 hours of Satisfactory, and I'm still not even, it's not even done. There's a lot of, I'm trying to think about what to do right now in Satisfactory. We spent like 3 hours sorting out the power problem, but now it's up to like components because things are getting more complex and I really need to think of like how I'm going to transfer items. We learned that drones are pretty handy, right? But even with the drones, it's really expensive as in it uses a lot of ports just to power up one route. I'll think about it. Also, it's like a poo smell still in the gym. The sewage might be not properly fixed yet. Everything's a bit spread out in the factory. So the only problem right now is that everything's spread out. It's like to make all of like the computer parts, we need to transfer copper to the plastic area, and we need to transfer quick wire to the other area, right? So what I'm thinking is we might need to transfer. I don't know, so it's 2 to 1. It's 2 to 1, but yeah, it's just like let's say I needed. I don't know. I don't even know what parts we're trying to create right now. I actually don't even know what we're trying to create right now. I think the only thing we need is supercomputers, but I may or may not have to make its own components. And the problem is to make the aluminum and batteries, non-stop flowing. I need packaging, and packaging costs plastic. But then I have to bring plastic from there to base. So the problem is that everything's spread out, and it's getting quite annoying to bring everything. It's getting a bit annoying to transfer everything around, right? So what I'm thinking is I need to figure out a way where I can just transfer everything from everywhere into one main source. So I'll need everything together. As much as the drones are good, it definitely seems like I want to transfer everything together. I need to think of it like this. I want a base that has every single node together, right? So therefore, we're going to need a drone port to backside sulfur, deuterium, plastic, copper, quartz. Yeah, because right now the problem is just that everything's so spread out. So the only solution is to have everything combined together. Because right now everything's just too spread out. I have to use the rover to drive back and forth too many times. But the problem is drones are going to cost. I'm going to need about, okay, there's iron, copper, coal, backside, sulfur, deuterium, plastic, seven, 7 ports, which means 14 ports. 21 ports because I need to add 7 each. No, that'd be times 4. It'll be 7 ports times it times 2. So 14 ports plus another 7. That'll be 28 ports. Oh boy, it's a lot of ports. A lot of drones. Because each drone needs a refill station. Unless I use a train to refill each drone station. But if I didn't use drones and just use the train instead, then the train will need. We could use a train, but the thing is that the train collecting 7 minerals, and depending on the loop as well, that means each station out of the 7 is going to need seven freight stations because the train's how that's how long the train. Yeah, again, the real problem with the factory is that everything is just spread out, and it's getting too annoying. Everything's spread out. yeah, it's just too. I don't know. I need to think about a way to really. Everything's too spread out. So no, the problem is originally having the spread out thing from our original like the big base to the copper base. Right? No, the plastic base. Right? Was because we were too lazy to package the oil and bring it back to base. But then now, when it comes to like the circuit boards, and the circuit boards are quite quick wire, right? So now that plastic place is we're bringing too many things in rather than and it's making us travel back and forth on our base a lot. So at the beginning, I was like, okay, that's simple, right? Bring copper to the plastic factory, and it'll be all good. Right? Only one tractor needed. But now with the new components, it's looking like we need to bring plastic to us instead because it's just too much. No, before it was just copper vein from our base to the plastic factory, and it's done, right? But now with these new components like quick wire, and we actually need plastic back in our base for the aluminum, right? It's going to be more smarter if we bring the plastic back to our base. But then now have to bring the quick wire back to our base as well, the deuterium. So yeah, because to make the aluminum work, we do need some plastic to have the water automatically flush. I think we need to just bring everything back to the base. Oh no, I'm gonna need to make like a. I'm gonna have to make some kind of personal. I need to make some kind of battery system. Oh, hold on. Okay, I think I've got it now. If we want to make our base centralized, we're gonna have to bring the plastic to us. We're gonna have to bring the plastic to us using a drone, and then once I bring the plastic to us, then I can reroute the quick wire to us as well. And when it comes to batteries, I can, if I have enough, if I have the battery factory all sorted, then I can actually just bring, I can just split all the batteries into the drone ports, kinda. Then I need an array of drones which will transfer materials. Once they transfer materials, then we have veins of things in our base instead. It's so complicated. It's so complicated. I'm gonna have to. Okay, here's what we're gonna do instead. Yeah, when it comes to real life, I'm going to do the dip at HQ. So right now, what I'm planning is to just do this cardio. I don't need a stretch because I'll be going to HQ straight away. Then I'll be doing LPT regime. Then I'm gonna edit. Then I'm gonna do the dips. Then I'm gonna eat food. And then I need to work. Then we're gonna go to fact. No, we might do some hunting and fishing, and then I want to go to satisfactory. I really need to figure out the. It's a very big problem solving thing right now, and again, it's just too spread out, right? That's the problem. So I'm gonna have to. Basically, I need to build like an aircraft carrier base, which means I need a bunch of drones. Each drone shall collect. Oh yeah, I could do that actually. Yeah, I will use drones. Each drone will collect the materials I need, right? And I'm gonna have to probably duplicate another battery factory, kinda. Well, no. Once I get the plastic going, once I get plastic coming to our base, I can start automatically flushing out the water, right? Once I flush out the water, we have a train that's constantly picking up sulfur, but I honestly might get a drone so we can get consistent sulfur. And then I'm also going to need, well, backsides needed to make the sulfur as well. Caterium's not needed. And the train already collects the coal quite nicely already. And the copper, but it's getting too much, so I need to rework everything. But the thing is, apparently drones don't actually need batteries. Drones could just use fuel. So if drones only use fuel, then we're going to need packaged fuel, which will require a drone to transfer the fuel. I think I kind of got it. I'm just going to need to we're going to have to build a really big drone factory carrier. Kinda. Ish. So I'm going to need a drone for backside, a drone for sulfur, a drone for copper, and a drone for coal. So that's four drone ports. No, I need and plastic. So that's 5 drone ports to make batteries. It's not actually 5 drone ports, but it's gonna be 5 routes, which means 10 drone ports. And okay, so all those drones will bring materials, and then that will make the battery, and they'll feed into themselves, and then it'll continue the battery assembly, which then I can continue to make mass amounts of. Yeah. Basically, we're gonna have to. Yeah, because. Okay, I see how it goes. When it comes to our base, we're gonna need a lot of drone ports. But yeah, okay, so I need to go there. I'll give you guys a story video today. But that problem in our base is really seeping into my brain. Like, we really need to fix that problem. Really, really need to fix that problem. Finish one water. No, we need to fix that problem. So, I'm gonna be using a lot of drones.
Oh boy, it's been like 3 to 4 hours of fishing. Absolutely nothing is what it is. I can't even think when I fish, I was trying to think about my factory, but I couldn't. Anyways, 3 disturbing true vacation stories from the GOAT, Mr. Nightmare. Alright, let's lock in, right? Got a text message? Vacation horror stories. Bruh. Edit this out. To quickly do something, you know what I mean? Okay, anyways. Story 1 by Robert.
This story is from when I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
Back then, I was a rebellious teenager.
You're
but
right.
Only when it came to my family. I was not a bad kid by any means, just a punk when it came to my family. I had a loving family, but I was that kid who was too cool to spend time with them. They always expected me to entertain my little brother Jake, who was only 10 years old at the time of this story. I was 8 years older than him. With that age difference...
Damn! 8-year age gap. 8 years, you might as well just have your own kid. Nah, I'm joking.
We may as well have been different species.
Okay,
Whenever we would take trips, my family would usually stay somewhere on or near the ocean. We only lived about 5 hours from the coast, so it was an easy trip. This
5 hours?
specific year, they decided to take a trip to Maine. Don't get me wrong, it was beautiful, and as an adult, I would love to go back. But as an 18-year-old, I thought that this was the worst trip we could ever take. Before I continue the story, let me just acknowledge that I know how much of a piece of garbage I was back then. Even as I write this, I can't believe how much of a little punk I was. We got to the house, and it was incredible. It looked like something out of a Stephen King novel, which was fitting because we were in Maine. It was a massive white house with green shutters that was deep within the trees. My dad even made the joke, "This is how most horror movies start, isn't it?" Probably not the best thing to say in front of a 10-year-old, but my brother didn't care. He was just as mesmerized by the house as I was. Inside the house was almost like a maze. The back center of the house was a huge living room that had an awesome view of a forest behind the house. The rest of the house had all
I don't know if that's gonna be nice. Wait, is it like one of those like parks where it's like houses are just like next to the lake, but like there's like zero fences, zero gates. Anyone can just walk in there whenever they want. Yeah, those are high trusted communities.
these hallways that intersected.
I never understood having like the trees or like a backyard, like just there, right? There's no gate, no fence, no security, no barbed wires. It's just free for anyone to be there. Anyone, anything. I'm kind of cold.
Places that strangely didn't make sense. It was like a house you would design in The Sims.
Plus, you're not even renting the house. You're not even. This is like a vacation house too. So, hidden cameras, watching you.
Not something you'd see in real life. The weirdest part of this place was not the hallways. It was that the house connected to a small adjoining house. The house where the owner of the property we were staying at lived.
What?
His name was Hugh. He was, let's say, strange. He was tall and wore this very old sweat-stained bucket hat. His teeth were very yellow, but it wasn't his physical characteristics that stood out. It was his personality. He was goofy and loud, a bit eccentric even. He welcomed my family and acted very friendly toward us. He kept referring to how kind folks from Maine were. My family's polite and nodded along with him while he was talking to them. He told us that he was right next door if we needed anything, and other than that, we wouldn't hear or see him for the entire week. We weren't thrilled about having...
I mean, that's a good, but I don't know if that's good or bad. Honestly, a joint house. So he's basically like, okay. I mean, from his perspective, yeah, you're taking care of your property, right? Making sure no funny business happens. And also, if it's like depends on how they rented a vacation house, but then all of the guy's details should be like there. So, first suspect will be him if anything happens.
This person basically in the same house as us, but there was nothing we could do now, and we just decided to make the best of it. Well, my family decided to make the best of it. I was being the worst and telling my family that I wanted to leave. I was looking for any excuse to leave and come home. The first morning there, while we were eating breakfast, my parents told us that we were going on this great hike. I told them that I didn't want to go. After a little back and forth, they decided to let me stay at the house, and the three of them were going to go on the hike. The main reason I didn't want to go was that right before vacation, I had just started dating this girl, Danny, and I wanted to talk to her. I knew if I went on the hike, I wouldn't get service, so I ditched my family to text my high school girlfriend. I was telling Danny about the house and sending her pictures of the weird layout. When I told her about the adjoining house, she didn't believe me. I told her I was going to send her a video to prove it. At the end of one of the hallways was a door. I sent her a video telling her that behind that door is Hugh's house. She still didn't believe me, so I sent her a video.
Real video story? That's a nice looking house. Let's look here. Wearing a mask? Wearing a mask? Hold on.
She still didn't
That's a nice looking house though, I can't lie. Like what the hell, that looks clean as hell, what? Boom! Long hair, wear a mask, GG. Bit is okay.
I went to open the door, assuming it would be locked.
Man, how are you gonna put a video in there and just have it that short? Yo, where's the full video at? If you're gonna have a video, show us the whole house. House tour.
And it was
Not real then. I don't believe it's real.
normal little... I heard a door shut from somewhere in the house, and I panicked and ran back to our...
You panicked, you stopped recording, and you just didn't show any more video, huh? Wow. Great camera work. Something happened? Now I'm kind of pissed because there's no video. Like, why would you
side
do
of the
that?
house. A few minutes later, Hugh was knocking at the door. He was still cheerful and goofy and asked why I was recording videos of his house.
How would he know? I'm skipping the story. I'm not gonna lie. I'm skipping the story. I don't want to listen no more. No more. Next. Jen. It's a woman.
Every year, my family goes on this
I don't trust that story. That story not real. How does he know you're recording? Why is it no more video?
epic vacation together. We stay at my aunt and uncle's house that's right on the ocean in West Palm Beach. Their son Will is the same age as me, and we've always been good friends. It's also not just my immediate family. My other aunt and uncle join us and bring their kids west on this epic.
You're Jen. Lock it.
Every year, my family goes on this epic vacation together. We stay at my aunt and uncle's house.
Aunt and uncle's house.
That's right on the ocean in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
Their son Will is the same age as me.
Why didn't you just say your cousin? Isn't it your cousin?
And we've always been good friends.
Aunt and uncle. So their son should be your cousin. Why don't you just say that? Already what do you call that thing? When I used to play Papers, Please. When I played Papers, Please, there was like there was that word you use when something's wrong. A deception? No, not deception. This something. I can't remember the words, but discrepancy. Lock in.
It's also not just my immediate family. My other aunt and uncle join us and bring their kids as well. Their daughter Teresa is my best friend. We went all through high school together, and because we're the same age, have the same last name, and kind of resemble each other, everybody thought we were twins.
Same last name. Just say your cousin.
We would love these family vacations because we would tell strangers that we were twins. As we got older, Teresa, Will, and I would party like rock stars on these family vacations. We would spend the day on the beach with the family, but at night, Will would take us to bars and clubs.
I ain't gonna lie, Will, that's kind of weird. You're taking your two cousins out on the bar. What's wrong with you? Super weird. That's weird. Isn't that weird? You take your two girl cousins to the bar? That's so weird. That's like taking your... No. I don't even want to listen to the rest of the story. I just want to skip it. It's retarded.
Because he was the local boy, he knew all the hot spots. On one specific family vacation from a few years ago, the three of us witnessed something weird, something that still bothers me and freaks me out to this day. Teresa and Will aren't so freaked out. They think what we witnessed was some kind of prank or just a weird occurrence.
Must have been when?
I'm just not so sure. The trip was like any other West Palm family vacation. We were living it up. Once in a while on these trips, Will would accidentally have a little too much to drink. Maybe it wasn't accidental. The boy liked his drinks. But because of this, Teresa and I would know exactly when he hit his limits. That's usually when we would call it a night and find a ride home. I was always responsible for us getting home. I would only drink to a certain point, and then spend the rest of the time making sure that Teresa, and especially Will, didn't end up in a ditch somewhere. On this specific night, Will started getting a little rowdy in one of the bars. He kept saying that because he was a local, he could run his mouth, but that's not a thing. He was making a lot of people inside the bar mad, and he ended up getting thrown out of the bar we were at. And I mean, he physically got thrown out of the bar by the bouncer. He was mumbling a little bit, but he was fine. He didn't hit his head or anything. I think his self-esteem was hurt more than anything. I told Teresa to watch him while I tried to find us an Uber or another way home. He kept calling me a buzzkill, and that's kind of how I knew it was time to go. I secured us a ride that would be there shortly. While we were waiting, I called my boyfriend and just told him about the night we were having. He laughed and told me to call him when I got back to the house. Just as I hung up the phone, Teresa ran over to me freaking out. She said she wasn't paying attention to Will while she was on her phone, and he got up and wandered off.
Why didn't you guys just stick together to begin with? I don't understand. What? Hey, keep an eye on him. You walk a few distance and call your... At this point, the boy, your male cousin wandered off. That's a him problem. He drank too much. He's the one that drank all the drinks. He's the one that wandered off. That is his problem. Hey, girl cousin, you and me, let's go home. Alright, I got a Uber coming, alright? The male cousin, where is he? I don't know. That's a him problem. That's a him problem. That ain't my responsibility. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, hey, not my responsibility. Hey, you took the drinks. You wandered off. We are not gonna risk we are not gonna risk two girls trying to find you, and we're gonna get killed ourselves. So, GG is what it is. You should have just, yeah.
The boy was in no condition to wander anywhere.
His fault.
I tried calling him, but his phone kept going right to voicemail.
His fault.
Which is right on brand for Will.
His fault.
After a few minutes of running around the streets yelling his name, I heard Teresa shout at me that she could see him. Thankfully, it was Will. He was walking in a very crooked line and heading towards the swamp or forest or something.
What?
I don't know what you would call it in Florida. I don't know the difference between what qualifies as a forest or a swamp. It was a heavily wooded area with a lot of mud and dirt. I'm going to refer to it in this story as a swamp because I feel like that's more on brand for Florida. Anyway, Teresa grabbed him before we entered the swamp and started giving him a verbal beatdown. Will was laughing and acting like a toddler. As soon as Teresa let go of Will, he sprinted into the swamp.
Okay, you know what? Have fun in the swamp. You gonna run off in the swamp? Go! Go run to the swamp then, you know? Whatever. Yo, Teresa, you and me? Home. Let's go. Let's get out of here. The fuck is he doing? I don't know what he's up to, but... yeah. Teleappearance? Yeah? Oh, Will? Oh, he got drunk and he ran into the swamp. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, is what it is, right? Yeah, now, you expect me and Teresa to go and find him in the swamp? We're gonna get killed. Don't chase after him. It's not... Let him kill himself. Let him go. Let him go in the swamp. You know? At that point, it's just like, yeah, okay, well, it's not right. One, he's a man, so he takes personal accountability for everything he's done. We're two females. Let's get out. Let's go. Don't chase him.
Know if it was adrenaline or rage, but without thinking, we sprinted into the woods after him. It only took us a little while to catch up. He was so messed up that he wasn't moving very fast. Using the flashlight from the cell phone, we were able to see just how dirty and gross this area was. Our feet were completely covered.
How do you go from bar into a swamp? What? This story is so missed. I guess W cousins, kinda, not really. Honestly, if that was like, it was like my perspective, I would get mad at it. I'd be like, why would you follow him?
Covered in mud. As we started heading out of the thick brush, Will, of all people, told us to shush. We both looked at him like we were going to smash him in the face, and before we could speak, he told us to be quiet again. He ducked down and looked scared. This was a completely different Will than 10 seconds ago. It didn't take us long to realize why Will got down. We heard shouting and screaming coming from somewhere in the swamp. It wasn't just normal screaming, at least to me. It didn't sound that way. It was like screams I've never heard before, and I haven't heard them since. The three of us just stayed quiet and stayed put while the sounds of these screams echoed all around us. We couldn't tell exactly where the screams were coming from.
How far did you wander off? I don't understand. How do you go from a club to a swamp? You know? Like, how do you go from a club, which is assuming in a city or, you know, somewhere with light, like street lights and stuff, right? How do you go from that to a swamp where you need to use your flashlights on your phone to a woman screaming? How far do you know? Because, like, I guess in New Zealand, right? Oh, okay, there's no swamps in New Zealand, obviously. But, like, how do you wander off into... Like, you came from a club, so shouldn't you be, like, within the local population, right? So how can that... If it's a swamp near the club, then... Well, like, how? You know? How far did you wander away? Did you, like... 10 kilometers away or something. Like I don't understand. A club's in a populated area near streets and like cars and everything, no? So how I don't understand. And you hear screaming in the distance too. What? It's just too close proximity. If
from, but whoever was screaming sounded like they were in trouble. Then, almost as abruptly as they started, the screams stopped. We didn't move. We stayed put in that muddy swamp for at least another 15 minutes. Then we sprinted out of the swamp as fast as we could and made our way back to one of the streets with the bars. We got a ride home and sobered up real quick. We tried figuring out what we heard so we could make a rational explanation. Anything we came up with wasn't good. Teresa came up with the idea to check out the swamp in the morning. During the day, she said we could safely navigate the area and see if there was anything to be worried about. I know I would never be able to navigate my way back to exactly where we were that night before, but Teresa's good like that. She's like a professional hiker, and she proved that by getting us to the exact spot we were hiding in the night before. All 3 of our indents were still in the dirt from where we were hiding. We all talked for a little bit about what direction we thought the screams came from, even though it was hard to pinpoint because of the way the scream echoed. We all surprisingly agreed on the same general direction. Teresa led the way through the thick brush. This
what are you guys playing, Scooby-Doo?
wasn't like a normal path. We were basically walking through bushes and mud puddles. A few minutes later, Teresa gasped. On one of the tree branches was the sleeve of a denim jacket. Just the sleeve. On the ground below the torn sleeve was a bunch of different footprints in the mud, almost like it was a struggle of some kind. I was ready to go back, but Teresa pushed forward a little bit. Not far from the sleeve was a small opening surrounded by trees. On the ground was the rest of the denim jacket. Surrounding the jacket were more of the footprints in the mud that looked like they were all bunched up in one spot, again making me feel like a struggle took place here. Leading away from the jacket was one set of footprints, and they led straight into more thick brush where it was impossible to track the footsteps anymore. I was done with all of this. I told Teresa and Will that I didn't feel safe anymore and that I wanted to go back to the house. They weren't as freaked out as me, but they were uneasy about all of this. We went back to the house, and I don't know why I let them talk me into this, but we agreed to just let it go. I was sure at that moment that we had witnessed some form of potential crime, but Will and Teresa didn't fully agree. They said it was possible, but most likely it was just a joke, or
Must have been the wind. Just been the wind, right?
even more likely a coincidence that we found the code and just happened to hear screaming the night before.
Yeah.
Will also convinced us that if we got law enforcement involved, we would be the only ones linked to the crime, if there was one, and that scared us, even though we clearly had nothing to hide. He made the point that it's possible the cops wouldn't believe 3 young adults were just in the middle of this random swampy area and witnessed a potential crime. Would they really believe that our drunk cousin just wandered into the swamp? If I could do it over, I would have called the police right after I heard the screams. At the time, I just thought Will made good points, and I thought it was best to just move on and forget about
Is what it is, right?
it. It's been several years now, and I still think about that scream. I've always wondered if I truly witnessed a crime, or if I just witnessed some intense domestic issue.
I mean, probably like a crackhead fight. I don't know. Again, we don't know the context of the swamp or like the area, so I really can't put it into context, right? Can't really put it into context, but the fact that you wandered from a club makes me think that it's probably just crackheads. I don't know, crackheads, homeless people. And if a crime really were to happen, I don't know, who would, don't ask, like, you know. And I mean, sure, you can inform the cops, but you know they can't really pinpoint you because if you're, dude, you can get away with getting away from getting away with cops with honesty is the easiest thing you can do. Because like, oh, if you're not lying and not being deceptive, you can easily get away with the cops if you just really be truthful. Like if you're truly innocent in your soul, then you're like, yeah, well, it wasn't me. And it's impossible to, if I was lying, it would be, my stories would always match mismaking and everything, right? But if it truly wasn't you and you just be honest, you'll be fine. Like, what can you do? It's like, yeah, well, it wasn't me. That's true, you know? If you want to arrest me, it is what it is, but it wasn't me. You know? If you don't know the Matrix, will know, right? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was 22 minutes, but I think we should be able to do some satisfactory. I did a lot of planning this morning when I was at the gym. No. This was tragic. We really expected like 5,000 megawatts and it turned out to be like that. You know what I mean? Wasn't that good. How many hours do we have on Satisfactory anyways? I feel like we've got like 100 hours now. 62 hours. You know, in ARK, we actually had a lot of... Yo, what? 287 on ARK? Lock in.